Well, we're looking at how global cues are staring at us in early trade today at the start, of course, of trade today. When we look at US indices, they were largely mixed in trade yesterday with the Dow in the green, but the S&P 500 absolutely flat and the Nasdaq took a bit of a battering yesterday, especially after those Netflix earnings. So largely expected, where the Nasdaq was, but the Dow, despite that, was resilient and well in the green. When we look at the Dow, it gained around 3/4% in trade yesterday. The S&P 500, as I did mention, absolutely flat, down just 6 basis points, and the Nasdaq was 1.2% lower. Of course, the Netflix earnings were in focus. When we quickly move on to Europe, European indices were in the green as European investors monitored earnings. There have been no concerns around earnings at the moment. Of course, inflation continues to be a concern, with the Fed continuing to say that inflation is a concern and rate hikes are in the pipeline. But European indices rose regardless. The DAX was up around 1.5% or thereabouts. The FTSE was up around 1/3% or so, and the Stock 600 up around 0.8%. When we look at what are the cues coming out of Asia in early trade today, Asian indices in the green. The Nikkei, in fact, up 1.2% as we speak. So strong cues coming out of Asia. All indices outside of China are currently in the green. So the ASX 200 also up around 1/4%, and the Kospi up around 2/3% in early trade today, while the Shanghai and the Hang Seng are probably the only losers, down around 0.5% each as we speak. When we look at the SGX Nifty, also positive cues coming out, up around 0.5% or thereabouts in early trade today. When we look at oil prices, they are where we left them yesterday, around $103 a barrel. Oil had tanked a bit, largely on the grounds that the IMF had reduced the GDP outlook globally, and that meant that oil demand will take a beating, which had led oil prices lower. However, elevated bond yields continue to mar markets, and that meant that gold is trending lower. It's currently at $1,960 an ounce. Yesterday it was roughly around the same price. So, but it has come down from its highs just below that $2,000 an ounce mark. When we look at the dollar index, it was almost at 101. Yesterday in trade, it's tapered back downwards to 100.5, following bond yields as well. So bond yields, which were at 2.9% plus yesterday, have come back below that 2.9% mark. It's at around 2.85% as we speak in early trade today, and that has also led, of course, the US dollar slightly lower to 100.5, but well above that 100 mark, and that's moved up really quickly. The dollar has been consolidating really quickly. When we look at cryptos, they're holding out firm, with Bitcoin holding above that $41,000 mark. So versus yesterday, as is where cryptos are concerned. Looks like a positive day for Indian indices, at least in early trade today. Marginally positive is what we're looking at the open as.